Yes, indeed. Good morning. Welcome back to your morning wake up. This year, a little morning pal here, Mike Austin, on a beautiful Tuesday, sunshiny day, nice day. Do you find yourself forgetting stuff? I mean, we all forget where we put our car keys from time to time. Where's that remote control? But what about stuff like, I forget stuff Lisa tells me all the time. Don't you remember I told you that yesterday? Honey, that's yesterday. I'm on a whole new day now. You got to tell me again. Or what did I come to the store for? Short-term memory. It's not an old person thing. But does your diet, does exercise play into it? Why? What happens? What's going on? You know who deals with memory and experiences and life's changes and brain stuff and thought? His name is Dr. John Braccio. This is, man, you're right in his wheelhouse right now. Regional Psychological Services, as he joins us every Tuesday with a little What's Up, Doc. Hey, what's up, Doc John Braccio? Good morning.
Well, good morning, Mike. And this is a big issue, okay, for people, the short-term memory. Like, do you find, unless you're very intentional about it, that you tend to forget so much of what you thought you had learned in the past week? Okay, research shows that persons lose up to 90% of new information that they're learning within a week. If you're honest, the person really has to admit, I certainly can admit this, that this does happen. It can happen quite a bit. You know, a person can even see a movie that they enjoy, and within a week or so, they'll forget a lot of the things, and golly, might even forget the name. And the thing that's so true, when you've got all these streaming services and everything, I mean, you can watch a movie and watch something, and then when you want to look at it again, you can't remember what it was, and you can't find it, okay? I mean, this is just the world we're in. This easily occurs in this technological age because there's really so much information, Mike, bombarding us at all times that we can find ourselves reading, seeing, or hearing seemingly countless different things in a very brief period of time. Unfortunately, you know, this really isn't how the brain is geared to work, and for us to learn, very often very little is learned from information coming in so quickly and not really being internalized. And I might add, it's not that a person is supposed to really remember just everything they encounter, okay? That would be unreasonable, as a person would be literally overwhelmed with information. So what do? Okay, if you want to really help your short-term memory in this world that we're in, well, following are some basic suggestions on, you know, what you can do, okay, to try to improve your short-term memory. One, control the input. Okay, that's one thing. I mean, when you talk to people and they just, and even if it can be yourself, you're on your computer, you're on your phone or whatever, and just information, so much is out there. Everything is crossing your screen. You can start looking up something like on depression, and you end up, you know, aerial photography of ancient Roman gold mines, okay? And well, you can find anything, you know, so you have to watch out. And another thing to do is write down in your own words the basic core of information of something you've heard, read, or saw that really is a big interest to you or interest to you. And then, you know, because you're going a step further. You're not only hearing it or seeing it, you then write down, well, what was this? What were some key things? The fact that you spent this time reviewing and doing this gives you a much better chance of remembering something than just one time coming through along with 100 other things. So that becomes an important thing, you know, to do. Then you do want to utilize technology. There's really nothing wrong, including artificial intelligence, to really give you, arm you with a lot of information, if you will, that can determine, for you, what's the most relevant, and just use it to focus for you, okay, what you're going to learn, what you're going to listen to, rather than just this, 1,000 different things coming at you in your mind's like open tabs. You've got just 100 things floating around like a computer. So, because this can be important in school and work, or really wherever it might be. Then you want to focus on what you have learned, okay, and then you want to be determining what's value, and then you do want to then see a combination of thinking about it, talking about it, writing it down, that you pick up these things in your mind. You're going to find, Mike, and I think you have, if you want to help that short-term memory, you've got to determine, well, when you encounter all this information, what are you going to do? How are you going to deal with it? Well, talking about it, thinking about it, writing about it, this can really be a very, very important thing and help you. And then another really key thing is repetition, okay? And this has been known really for centuries, all the way back as far as we can remember, that it's critical. If you want to really learn something, you really have to be going over it over and over it again, okay? Like example, if you want to learn a language, well, you're going to have to say the words, phrases to the point that language is learned, that's so natural to you. That if you say, donde está mi gran amigo Mike, but I'm asking, where is my great friend Mike? Okay, well, it just becomes natural. You you don't think about it. You're just using this. And this is, even though language is an easy thing to see the growth and the change, it's the same thing in most things, whether it's we're working on mental health, we're working on how to be an expert person with a boat, whether you're looking at being a person with a radio show like you have. These are things that we learn through experience and doing things with that short-term memory. If we want to really build on things, we just have to really decide what we're going to learn, and then we just have to, like saying here, you focus on it, you write about it, you can think about it, you can talk about it, you can analyze it in your mind, things that are important. But otherwise, you could spend a lot of time really not learning a lot, unless that's just what you want to do, kind of be overwhelmed or listening to 1,000 different things coming in. So my advice is just really work on this.
Does memory come from different places? Like, for instance, I find, and I think most people do, you can remember lyrics to songs or what you think were the lyrics, or melodies, but yet when, you need to memorize a paragraph or a couple of sentences, that's lost on you. And so if you commit something, like a song is melodic, I don't know, and the rhythm there, does that do something easier to remember?
It can. I think every person is different. I think that if you really listen to something that you really like, and you're tuned into it, and you listen to it over and over again. Okay, "Light My Fire" by the Doors, a good old song from long, long ago. But whatever, you kind of get used to it. You like it. You just can you keep it in your mind. The thing is, if we do want to remember something, okay. Like, let's take a song, and you listen to it, you pick up on the words, you really it becomes a part of you in some ways, okay? That's why people a lot of times, they have memories hinged, if you will. The bullet points are from particular music or songs or things during periods of their life that they remember, like, hey, when I was a teenager, when I was 30, when I was 40, 50, that type of thing. So, but memory's a strange kind of a thing, because you'll find that even persons that have superb memories, if they don't watch out, and when they're trying to pick up information, if they allow everything to get diluted by tons of information coming in and not really determining what's important and how they're going to be learning how to keep track of it, the information, like how are you going to learn about it? Well, it's like, it doesn't matter what it is, repetition over and over again, reading about it, writing about it, talking about it.
I find more as I get older, I start panicking. If I forget a few things, I start going, oh, here comes Alzheimer's. I better get tested. And I start panicking. A lot of times, if I haven't had enough sleep, I'll forget everything. What is it about? Isn't there a thing with stress and trauma that you can block certain things or see it differently? The old adage that, 10 minutes after a car accident, you ask 3 people who saw it, and they'll have, no, the car was orange. No, it wasn't. It was red. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think there's
stress
any question. Stress and anxiety and worry certainly impact memory. And to the point, if you're so focusing on something else, let's say trauma in your own life or something you can't keep your mind off, it doesn't always have to be negative, but it can certainly impact, 1, what you notice around you, and 2, it can also impact just yourself in terms of what's going to be important, what isn't. But there's no question, trauma or being bombarded by so many things. That I hear from a lot of people. They'll say, Dr. Braccio, I just can't keep my memory. I can't remember things, and they're telling me how they're listening to they'll be on their computer, and I'm all of a sudden, whatever it is, they or their phone or whatever, 100 different things seem to be coming through. Like I mentioned the extreme, and that actually did happen to me one time when I was doing some research on bipolar disorder. I ended up seeing a thing came across about finding with aerial photography ancient Roman gold mines, and it really caught my attention, okay? But have you ever thought of how irrelevant that really is to what I was doing? I mean, I even mentioned it to my wife. I said, did you know this? And she said, well, that's interesting, but what does that have to do with bipolar disorder? So I had to kind of chuckle. But then sometimes these voyages are interesting, but if you really do want to learn something and you want to keep that short-term memory in terms of what we're doing, going and using the information, we do need to use some strategies. And I have another thought, too. A lot of people that think they're losing their memory, a lot of times they're older and they have so much information that when they're retrieving it, when you're retrieving things, say over 50, 60, or 40, whatever years, it's different than when you're 15, 20, 25. So I always kid people. I say, hey, you may be getting a little gray around on the hair there a little bit, but on the other hand, you're trying to remember things from so many years. Maybe just kind of relax, take it easy, don't worry about it so much, unless you forget where you are, that type of thing. So, but as a whole, hey, there are things you can do to enhance the memory, but I do find people will tell me this. They'll say, I saw this movie. I know it was really a good movie, and I can't find it again. Okay, now I'll say, well, where is it? And they'll say, I was on Netflix or wherever they were, Prime, and there are just thousands of things out there to be looking at. So I always tell people, if you really see something, unless it's something maybe everybody's aware of, that isn't really true. If you run into a 1955 movie, not everybody's going to be aware of it. I always say, hey, write down things and have a notepad for it. That always helps that short-term memory, Mike.
I got used to that when I was a kid because I forgot everything. My mother would say, you forget from one room to the next. And she's right. And I've struggled with that all my life. But I got in the habit of writing little Post-it notes down. The problem is then you've got to learn to organize because you get little notes everywhere on different pieces of paper and napkins. Then you're in trouble there, too. But what can we do to work on our memory? Really, sleep, exercise, diet probably plays a lot in there. But just the more you do it, the better it gets, I guess, huh?
Yeah, control what's coming in and be writing about it, talking about it, thinking about the information that's important. Otherwise, most things are just going to come through and they'll disappear and go off. And that isn't really bad because you can't be remembering everything. But those things that are important, you have to be able to do.
There are some things just better forgotten. I run into those often as well. Dr. John Braccio, Regional Psychological Services. Memory has always been a big thing for me, mainly because I forget everything, and I always thought it was interesting to study it. But Doc, we're up on time. I appreciate it as always. Thank you so much, and we'll do it again next week. How about that?
Always a pleasure. Great talking to you, buddy. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
See you later. Dr. John Braccio, Dr. John B. on the web. Regional Psychological Services, East Lansing. It's 7:24. That was a long segment, but it's interesting. Maybe I forgot to end it. I don't know. We'll be right back here. 1320 WILS. Mike Austin, your morning wake up here.